Watch, Hillary claims there's no national emergency at U.S.-Mexico border. During a recent interview, Hillary Clinton mocked President Trump and Republicans for their policies towards illegal immigration and border security, suggesting that there was no national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border. "I just don't think you should call a national emergency unless there truly is a national emergency," said Clinton, later asserting, "There is no national emergency at our border." Clinton said that President Trump is frustrated because he can't even convince his own party to support his requests to bolster border security. The former First Lady and 2016 candidate went on to defend Democrats for their continued refusal to negotiate with the president, claiming that liberal politicians support increasing border security as much as Republicans, but disagree regarding a physical barrier. Meanwhile, during the Obama era, the media news outlets readily described a crisis at the border under then-President Barack Obama when he sought funding to deal with a surge of migrants, many of them women and children. But now that President Trump is in the White House, the mainstream media seem far more reluctant to use the word. Back in the summer of 2014, the headlines and stories referring to the C word were plentiful as the border surge was taken seriously along the Asla corridor. The Washington Post wrote in 2014, White House requests $3.7 billion in emergency funds for border crisis, while CNN published a feature, Daniel's Journey, How Thousands of Children Are Creating a Crisis in America. It described a problem of epic proportions. Around the same time, the Huffington Post declared that photos of the humanitarian crisis along the southern border were shocking, and ABC News reported that Obama requested $3.7 billion to cope with the humanitarian crisis on the border and the spike in illegal crossings by unaccompanied minors from Central America. The ABC News story, Obama's plans for $3.7 billion immigration crisis funds, included a photo of detainees sleeping in holding cells at an Arizona placement center. In June 2014, NBC News' Andrea Mitchell said that undocumented children flooding the border were creating a crisis for authorities. Many of these articles were highlighted in an email blast from the Republican National Committee, which is actively backing Trump's bid to draw attention to the surging migration flow along the border as the president seeks funding for a border wall, with the government partially shut down amid the impasse. The RNC argued the media are challenging Trump's descriptions, and Democrats outright call it a manufactured crisis, at a time when the problem has only grown worse, by some measures. The hypocrisy, unfortunately, is no longer stunning. It's utterly predictable, the Hill media guru Joe Concha told Fox News. Concha said much of America's political media is preconditioned to oppose anything the president supports, with the coverage of the immigration fight the latest example. For years, we heard about how horrible it was for U.S. troops to be in places like Syria or Afghanistan. Trump proposes pulling them out, and suddenly therefore keeping them there, Concha said. Same thing with the border.